ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् स भूमिं विश्वतो भृत्वा अत्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलम् पुरुष ये वेदगुं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम् उतामृतत्वस्येषानः यदन्नेनातिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा अतो ज्यायागुश्च पूरुषः पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादूर्ध्व उदैत्पुरुषः पादोऽस्येह भवात् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् शासनानशने अभि तस्माद् विराड जायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चाद्भूमिमथो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत वसन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यं ग्रीष्म इद्मः शरद्धविः सप्तास्यासन् परिधयः त्रिसप्त समिधः कृताः देवा यद्यज्ञन्तन्वानाः अबध्नन् पुरुषं पशुम्। So we were looking at the fifth rik here. Tasmaad virada jayata. So it was already said tato vishvam vyakramat, like that in the fourth rik. So this Purusha is the one who became all that is here, all the differentiated objects, and pervaded that also, who is all pervading. That which is sashana, that which eats something, consumes something, means sentient. Anashana means that is insentient. So both sentient and insentient, everything that is here, all the objects in this differentiated world are all pervaded by this Purusha. Now this has been said. Now the Srishti itself is talked about in more detail. So when we look at the Srishti, there is a certain krama is there. Krama means what? There is a certain order in which the creation is talked about. So initially Ishvara desires to create, we say, correct? It starts with the desire to create. So kamayata, like that also, even in the Upanishads, it is talked about that this Ishvara, the one who is the cause of everything, desired. Because in the causal state, there is no differentiated world. Everything is there potentially, like even the entire tree is there in the seed, correct? Like that, before the differentiated creation which is available to us for perception came into being, everything was there in a potential state. That is what we call avyakritam, avyaktam, like that, unmanifest, undifferentiated, potential causal form, like that we can say. In that form, the world is there. Ishvara, who is in the form of a conscious being, is anyway, Ishvara is the adhisthana for everything. Even this causal potential state of this universe is only a superimposition on Ishvara. It has no reality other than in Brahman or Ishvara. That's what we have to understand. Like even there is no separate part other than being a clay. There is no separate chain other than being a gold. So Ishvara alone was there. World was in potential form. Then there is no Srishti really. There is no creation as we know it is right now. Then how did all these things come about? Means initially Ishvara had a desire to create. No, why should Ishvara even desire? If you have that question, then we say that Ishvara has to desire to create because of all the karma which is there, jiva karma only. Okay, that is our understanding. All the karma which has been accumulated by the jiva, the different jivas, can only be exhausted by experiencing the results of those karma. For that purpose, this world is required. That is how even in the Upanishad it is said. Otherwise, the Ishvara will get all the blame, correct? Why did Ishvara create a world like this? Why did Ishvara create me and also a mosquito or even a virus? All these problems, we have to blame Ishvara. But Ishvara does not have any blame because it is all because you are undergoing your karma. For that purpose alone, Ishvara has created the world, we have to say. So the desire also is there only because it seems that all the jiva karma wants to now get exhausted. So Ishvara desires means here, and in one Upanishad it even says that tapaha tapyata and all is there. Jnanamayam tapaha means visualized, recollected all the knowledge. So Brahman as it is not even a knower. Only when Brahman identifies as all-knowing being, that when identification of Brahman with all knowledge, then only we call that as Ishvara. Ishvara is all-knowing, means Ishvara is identified with all knowledge. First knowledge has to be there, then only any creation can be there. So Ishvara identifies with all knowledge. So the all-knowing Ishvara is there. Then all knowledge only becomes everything. Now we are talking about this process of becoming of everything. How did Ishvara become everything? Means when we say all knowledge, knowledge means it is associated with mind. All knowledge takes place only in mind. So all knowledge, when we say Ishvara in the form of Hiranyagarbha, we say otherwise. Hiranyagarbha means what? Hiranyam means gold or shining. And Garbha means you all know, Garbha literally means pregnant. But Hiranyagarbha here means what? The all-knowing Ishvara only is called Hiranyagarbha because he is shining with all knowledge and potential. All knowledge only potentially becomes all the objects which are there here. So Ishvara with all knowledge in a potential form is the Hiranyagarbha. And then from that Hiranyagarbha, which is the Samashti Sukshma, we say. Samashti Sukshma means what? The totality of all the subtle bodies. So when we talk about a body of a being, modern science is only talking about physical body. They only, in fact, some scientists don't even accept there is a mind. But our traditional understanding is that there is something called mind. There is a subtle body, we say. That's what Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira. Karana Sharira also we say. Karana Sharira is the causal form, where everything is undifferentiated. From that, the Samashti Sukshma is the Hiranyagarbha, which identifies with all knowledge. And from that samashti sukshma, next step is the sthula sharira is to be born. Okay, the physical, the gross body also sometimes they say, or the physical, subtle and physical, which is more tangible. Now the Virat Purusha, see first the Purusha is talked about as everything. That was said in lot of detail, correct? In terms of time, in terms of space, in terms of objects, everything is Purusha. After having said that, now we are actually seeing how this Purusha, who is all knowing and all pervading, how the Purusha became this physical world also, whatever we are encountering here. In that only first Virat Ajayata Tasmat Purushat. From this Purusha, who has now identified with all knowledge, who has a desire to create, so that the jivas, the individuals can exhaust all their karma. Now that Purusha only becomes Virat, Vividham Rajate iti Virat. So here Virat means what? The one who is appearing as all these different objects, as these many things, variegated things. So this Virat, this physical, the world, you can say, the one who identifies with the totality of the physical world is born. And also there is a Dehi, the one who identifies with this physical totality of all the physical things which are there, physical bodies, you can say. That is the Virajo Adhipurushaha, means the one who has his locus or identity as this Virat, this entire physical universe, you can say. And the one who was born like that, Sajato Atyarichyata. So Atyarichyata means what? Atishayena Arichyata, we can say Atishaya. Ati means Atishayena, especially he is shining, it seems. Atyarichyata means surpasses, like that and all you can give meaning. Atiriktaha Bhavati. So he stands out, surpass. So here that means what is the meaning given here is that Virat only now became all the different types of Sharira, Deva, Manushya, Tiryag, Adi Shariraha, Abhut. So this Virat, the one who is born, having been born, Sajataha San, Atyarichyata means he surpasses himself. He is shining, means here he is now becoming all these bodies. Is that clear? So starting from Devas, Deva Sharira, Manushya Sharira, Tiryang means all the things which grow horizontally, like animals, different animals. Plants also you have to include all the Jiva. Jiva Sharira, all types of Jiva Sharira, this Virat only became, that is what is Sajato Atyarichyata. Not only that, what? Further what? Paschad Bhumim Atho Puraha. So then this Virat became this Bhumi, not only the Sharira for the beings, the Sharira has to be there somewhere, correct? So this Bhumi here is not just the earth. Okay, so Paschat means afterwards, the Virat also became this Bhumi. All the Bhumi here means Bhumi, and also you have to take all three lokas otherwise. Okay, this there are 7 down is there: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, Patala, like that. 7 lokas down. Then 7 up is there. Bhuhu, Bhuaha, Swaha, Maha, Tapaha, Janaha, Satyam, Iti. So like that, 7 up, 7 down, all these lokas, Virat alone became all these lokas. Okay, the Bhumi is an Upalakshana here, it is only a indication. Atho, Puraha, also he became all the bodies. Puraha also means body only here. Puryante Sapta Dhatu Bihi iti Puraha, like that we can give a Vyutpatti for this. the etymology or explanation, it is what? Puryante means what? That which is filled by Sapta Dhatu, 7 Dhatus. Therefore, Puraha means body, Sharirani. So Virat only became all the lokas, Virat only became all the shariras, all the bodies of all the beings who are occupying all these lokas. Now, what is this Sapta Dhatu? Filled by 7 Dhatu, we say, correct? So in Ayurveda also, this Sapta Dhatu is talked about. Means the body is made up of 7 constituents, 7 ingredients, however you are 7 types of parts. Okay, what are these things? So it starts with rasa. Rasa means you can say the plasma or even lymph, like that they say nowadays. So the fluid, it is a colorless fluid, correct? Lymph, plasma and all are colorless fluid, which is very important because that is also flowing in your body, which is keeping all your cells together and all that. And then rakta is blood. So rasa, rakta. In fact, the rasa mixes with blood and again flows through the veins and arteries also. Then, so blood is flowing. Where is it flowing? Means without muscles, how can blood flow? So the mamsa also is there. Mamsa means muscles. Then muscles along with fat is there, correct? Medha. Then blood cannot flow by itself, or your body will not have any shape without bones. So asthi. And then bone also has to have its own bone marrow, which is a very important part of the body. That is called majja. So bones have bone marrow. Then finally shukra, they say. The semen is called shukra. That is ojas also it is called otherwise. That which can reproduce. It has that shakti, that power. So all these 7 things are called Sapta Dhatu in Ayurveda. So the Sapta Dhatu only is filling up this body. They are the constituents, ingredients which make up this body. Therefore, it is filled with these 7 dhatus, and that's why it is called Puraha. So essentially, what the Upanishad is, the Purusha Sukta is saying here is that all the bodies which are there here and all the lokas are nothing but this Purusha alone, the physical bodies and the physical loka, all the different loka. So this Purusha alone became the Virat and also the one who is identifying with the Virat. So in all these things, we have to understand one thing. The Karana and Karya, both are Purusha only, correct? Because Purusha is the first uncast cause. If we look at the cause and effect, within the world you can keep on going. If you say pot is the effect, clay is the cause. But if you say clay itself is an effect, then you can go down. Molecules are the cause. Molecules themselves are an effect means atoms are cause. Atoms themselves are an effect means subatomic particles are there. Like that you can keep on going. So you can reduce everything to different names. Names in names. Namni, namani. You can reduce everything to different names and forms. But Purusha is where you have to stop. Otherwise, it will become infinite regress. Everything cannot have a cause. Purusha is the uncaused cause. Cause of everything, but itself is uncaused, which is always there. That is why we have to say, which transcends even space and time, which does not come into being in space and time. In fact, space time is in the Purusha. That Purusha is also the cause, and that Purusha alone is becoming all the effect also. So Karana and Karya are both the Purusha. Bhokta and Bhojyam. Also, whatever is enjoyed, Bhojya Padartha are there. The objects of enjoyment and the one who enjoys. Both are Purusha only. That's why Virajaha Adhipurushaha means what? The one who identifies with the physical body, one who indwells in the physical body, and one who is enjoying everything also is this Purusha. And the one who is in reality, in fact, not enjoying anything. The reality of the Purusha is not the Karta Bhokta. But all these things are happening, then how means it is all Maya only, we have to say. Indro Maya Bihi Pururupaha Iyate, like that Upanishad is there. In different Upanishads, Maya is talked about. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan says, I have created all these worlds only with my Maya. Okay. And this. So Maya here means what? Maya literally means magic. Okay. But magic or here, what does it mean is, it is all an appearance, because the magic itself is nothing but an appearance. Understand that. In reality is different. In a magic, what appears is what is not there really. It's only a sleight of hand, correct? Something looks like something, but in reality it is not that. That once you know the reality of the magic, it is no more magic also, but otherwise it is magic. It appears to be something fantastic, out of the world, abnormal. So like that here also, when we say this entire world which is appearing, it's an appearance. Now this appearance we can understand very easily. All scientists also understand this. It's not something very difficult, because as I told you, you can keep on reducing things. The macro world can be reduced to the micro world. The micro world can be reduced to atomic and subatomic world and all that. It's only one world which we are experiencing, but we can look at it in different ways. And if you look at it in a subatomic level, everything is so different. Even the laws of physics are different there. At the subatomic level, they say 99% is only space. But in the macro world, we have solid, liquid, gas, plasma, everything is there. So that itself is Maya, it is a magic only, correct? How did few subatomic particles become all this, so many objects, variegated world? We don't have any answer for that. No scientist also can say. They can only say, no, everything has come from Big Bang. Initially, there was only a singularity. All that they can say. Singularity also is avyakta only, avyakrita. Undifferentiated potential form is there. Everything came from there. But how did a few things become all these many things? Means they combined something, they have to say, I think. But still, whatever is 99% space in subatomic level is now appearing as all these things at the same time in the macro level. That is Maya only. That is That is something magical, correct? So by Maya only, Ishvara is becoming many. In reality, there is only one Purusha. Purusha alone is there. But Purusha appears as many. Purusha appears as the subtle world, as the physical world also, as the Virat. And not only that, Purusha is the object of enjoyment. Purusha is the enjoyer. Purusha is the effect. Purusha is the cause. So we have to understand this very clearly. Everything that is there, any kind of categorization you do, all the categories are Purusha only. Subject and object, both are Purusha. Correct? So that is something we have to understand here very clearly. Now, so having talked about the Virat, the physical totality, now further Srishti is being talked about, interestingly, by giving an imagery of how the Devas did Yajna. Okay? Because the Virat Purusha, now further Sriti has to be done. Devas have been created, and then from there all other things have to be created. So initially the Devas and the Rishis, what do? They have to further create, means any creation is possible only with Yajna. That is how we look at it. The Yajna only creates the Apurva, Papa, Punya, and based on that only everything else is created. So the initially what Yajna was done, we have to know. In fact, even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan in the third chapter says, Sahayajna praja srištva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadhvam yena vostushta kamadukha. Like that, there is a Gita verses there. So when we talk about creation, it is always along with the yajna. Sahayajnaha prajaha. Means all the beings were created along with the yajna. So you have to do the yajna. That's why we also have Panchamaha yajna and all that. So daily you are supposed to do 5 types of yajna. So yaj means worship also we can say. Correct? So 5 types of worship. Yaj dhatu is used in the meaning of worship. Yajna also is sacrifice or worship. This yajna is the one which is keeping the entire cosmic ecology going. That's how we look at it. See, scientists also talk about ecology, how there is a cycle, certain cycle. And in that ecology, if something is broken, some species becomes extinct, then that whole ecology is gone. Okay. They talk about some keystone species and things like that. Similarly here, yajna is the main thing. Yajna is the one which is keeping this entire creation going. That's how we look at it. So even in the Gita it is said, Deva bhavayata nena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyata ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha. Like that, what is said is, all the beings propitiate the devas, they please the devas. How? By doing all this yajna. So in the yajna we offer, the offerings are for different devatas. So the devatas take all the offerings from the yajna, and in turn they also bless you with all the prosperity, with which again you are expected to do more yajna. Okay. So they only give rains. They make sure you have plentiful harvest. All your pashus give lot of milk. So with that, again, you can do more yajna. Like that, it is a cycle. You take care of the devas and the pitris. They in turn bless you. And like that, this whole cycle keeps on going. So you are supposed to do yajna. In fact, if you don't do yajna, you are like a thief. That's what Bhagavan says. Tair dattana predayebhyaha yo bhunte stena eva saha. So you are born as a human being and you do not offer anything to the devas, your pitras, to others. You only are interested in enjoying yourself, means you are like a thief, because you are anyway consuming things. Nobody has created anything in this world, understand? We are all coming and everything is already available, right? From oxygen to breathe, water, everything is given. And if you do not appreciate the giver and the givers in some sense, then you are like only a thief. You are the ones who are consuming more than contributing. Of course, as children, we are all only consumers. That is fine. But when do you become an adult? Adult means you have to contribute more than your consumption. Then only you are adult. If you are only consuming everything from others, physically you can grow. You cannot be considered as an adult. So growth means it involves certain emotional maturity, ability to contribute more than what you consume. Then you are growing, you are becoming an adult. Anyway, so here what we were talking about is about the yajna. So yajna is a very important part of the creation. Yajna only is the one which keeps the creation going. The cosmic ecology, if you say, is kept going by this yajna. So here also, when the Srishti is talked about, creation, further creation, how did the further creation come about? Because the Devas started doing yajna. But when the Devas wanted to do yajna, there was no external objects and all have not yet been created. Okay. So they did not have any ingredients. The samagri and all was not available. Yajna samagri is not there. The ingredients which are to be offered, which make up the offerings, all the ingredients were not available to them at the time. Those things also have to be created now. Then how did they do the yajna? Means it's all only visualization, manasam yajna. So in their visualization, in the manasam yajna, what did they do? So that's what we are seeing here. Yat purushena havisha. So the purusha himself becomes the offering in the yajna now. The devas are visualizing that this purusha, Virat Purusha, is the offering in the yajna. So that is generally offering, we have said. No, specifically also it is saying, because generally in a yajna, we have this, we have to offer ghee, that is called ajyam. And then there are other offerings made up of grains, like purodasha and all we say. Sacrificial cake, like that in English they say that. Essentially you can cook rice also and make it like a cake, and then along with ghee we offer it. So that is called havis. And then to create the fire, you require all this samid, correct? Fuel, wood. So only with all these three things you can do the yajna. So those three also are now talked about specially. So the devas, devaha yajnam atanvata. So these devas did yajna. Atanvat tanoti means to sacrifice, to do this yajna. That is called atanvata, means they did this yajna, devaha. How? By having the Purusha himself as the havis, as the offering. So yat purushena havishaha, purusha rupena havisa, havishtuvena. By having Purusha himself as the Havis, these devas did yajna matanvata. And in that what? Especially what? Vasanto asya sidajyam, asya asit ajyam. So in this yajna, Vasanta Ritu is the ajya. Ritu means we have 6 ritus are there traditionally, okay? They are translated as seasons, but I don't know. In regular, at least as we understand seasons, now there are only 4 seasons we talk about, but ritus are 6. Every 2 months the ritu will change. Okay, even if you are doing sankalpa, everyday puja and all, we say the ritu, correct? Right now it is Sharad Ritu. So Sharad Ritu means what? After the rainy season, we have this Sharad Ritu. You can say it is autumn in English. Then after Sharad Ritu is what? Hemanta Ritu means Hemanta Ritu is the pre-winter, you can say, or you can say pre-winter. Yes, I think. Then we have winter also, 2 months are there, correct? Then we have again spring comes, Vasanta Ritu. So Vasanta is spring. So during winter, there is not much grazing and all is not possible. Let us say leaves are all falling, trees are also not very green. Then in spring, everything is coming up again. It's all becoming green, lot of grass. At that time, in fact, lot of fodder is available for your cows, and they give lot of milk, it seems. So that is why, and from the milk only you get ajyam, correct? Ajyam is nothing but ghee, which you offer in the yajna. Unless you have a lot of milk, you cannot have ajyam. And lot of milk you have when only in the Vasanta Ritu, when there is plenty of fodder. That is why Vasanta Ritu is now considered as ajya in this yajna. Like that, one comment in one of the commentaries, they are even giving you the justification why Vasanta Ritu is visualized as ajya, because only in the Vasanta Ritu the cows are giving you a lot of milk, and then from that you can get ajyam, correct? During the spring, then obviously Grishma Idmash. Grishmaha Idmaha. Grishma Ritu is the Idma. Idma means fuel, wood. Because Grishma is the summer, hot season. So obviously that is visualized as fuel, Idmaha. And Sharad is the Havis. Purodashadi, as I told you, Purodasha means the cake. You make a cake, you cook the grain and make cakes out of that. Why Sharad is the Havis means typically in the autumn only you make harvest, correct? So there is a harvest season that is in Sharad Ritu. So lot of grains you get in the Sharad Ritu. Therefore Sharad Ritu is now visualized as Havis. So in this manner, the Devas visualized all these different ritus themselves. Only 3 are given here, although 6 ritus are there, I told you, correct? Because Varsha Ritu is left out here. Vasanta Ritu, Grishma Ritu, Varsha Ritu. During Varsha Ritu, it is rainy season. Then Sharad Ritu is after rains. Hemanta Ritu before winter. Then Shishira Ritu is the winter. So we have 6 ritus. 3 ritus only are talked about here, especially in the context of Yajna. So these ritus themselves were are talked about as the offerings which have to be made. So here we can see that this beautiful imagery of how the Devas, even though they did not have any external ingredients, by in their visualization only, Manasa, they did all these things. So the Purusha himself, they gave us Havish, and Purusha is in the form of all the seasons also. Again, see that also comes here. So Purusha in the form of Vasanta Ritu is the Ajya. Purusha in the form of Grishma Ritu is the fuel, Idma. And Purusha as the Sharad Ritu is the Havis. Like that, they did this Yajna, and from that Yajna again the Srishti is progressing further. And that is again talked about here, correct? In the 7th Rik also. Saptasya san paridhayaha. Paridhi means what? Paridhi means in Sanskritam it is like a circumference, boundary, like that we can say. Okay. Now this yajna when you do, you have all this poles and all. We in a see again there are different types of yajna are there. Ayupaha, sayupaha and all like that. Yupa means you have to have a post to which an animal is tied. Then animal sacrifice also is involved in that. That is called kratu, one type of yajna where the yupa is there and then the animal is tied to that and then sacrifice of the animal happens. That is called kratu. So here further this yajna, Purusha himself is bound as the Pashu. The kratu is now being talked about. So in the kratu you have to have all these poles have to be, you have to erect them. Okay. Now 7 poles form the boundary within which you do the yajna, the paridhi, paridhayaha is the plural. So what are the 7 poles which are like the boundary? Again, that is an imagery here. There is no real pole, there is no external pole. This has been interpreted differently. Different interpretations have been given in different commentaries for this. So Sapta Chandas are the poles, like that one interpretation is given. 7 Chandas. Because we have Gayatri Chandas. In fact, majority of the Veda is there only in few Chandas. Gayatri, Anushtup, Trishtup, these are the main Chandas. Then there are other meters are also there. Chandas means meter. When we talk about Veda mantra or Rik, they have to be in a certain meter. Rules are there. It is not prose. That is why even here you can see all these things are there in this meter, correct? There is one danda is there here. That means this is one pada, then this is another, like that. So the 7 chandas themselves can be considered as the 7 poles which form the boundary of the Yajnashala. Or in a more, in another interpretation is what, see, since Srishti is being talked about here, initially how did the Srishti come about? Mahat, Ahankara, then Pancha Tanmatra we say. Those 7 are the 7 poles here. They are the boundaries. They are like the avara. We say that they are the kosha. Kosha also is talked about. Pancha kosha and all that in Upanishads. So the avarana or covering, they cover this Purusha. So the Purusha becomes first in the creation, in the order of creation. If we see Mahat, we say Mahat is the, like the Hiranyagarbha is called Mahat, the one who identifies with all knowledge. Then Ahankara, again totality, Ahankara is there. Mahat and Ahankara come first. Then only everything else comes. Then we say that Pancha Tanmatra means the Pancha Bhutas are there, correct? We talk about Akasha, Vayu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithivi. So this krama is there even in the Taittiriya Upanishad also. If some of you have learnt it, you will know. So, Tasmat va etasmad atmana akasha sambhutaha akashad vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapaha adhyah prithivi prithivya oshadhayaha, like that it goes. So from this Atma, means here we have to include Mahad and Ahankara are already understood. Akasha came. Akasha itself is created. That is there always. See, scientists said only 100 years back, they said that otherwise they thought space-time is absolute. But only now space-time is talked about as something created out of Big Bang and all that. But we have always considered space-time as created. In fact, in the Bhashya, Shankara Bhashyakara says that space, Akasha here includes time also. So he is talking about space-time as created. So the five Pancha Mahabhuta are also called Tanmatra because they are there only as themselves in their pure form. But when the physical space, see here when we talk about Tanmatra, we are talking about them in a subtle form. So when we talk about the Srishti, we also talk about the subtle aspect and the Stula, gross or physical aspect of it. The Pancha Mahabhutani, starting from Akasha, space, Vayu is wind, Agni is fire, then Apaha, all the liquids, water, and Prithivi is earth or solid things. Now these five, originally they were in subtle form, and then we even talk about something called Panchikaranam. There again everything is made up of three gunas also, we say Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So from the Sattva guna of all these Pancha Bhutas only, mind is born, and each Indriya is born from one type of Pancha Mahabhuta. Like that we have a Srishti Prakriya is there. We have our own model of creation. Like nowadays we have all this periodic table, correct? So many elements are there in periodic table. So the entire physical world is understood to be made up of all those elements. But we are having a different model. We have a 5 elemental model of creation. Even in this 5 elemental, we not only cover the physical world, we also cover the subtle world, all the mind, etc. So mind also is created from the subtle or the Sattva Guna aspect of the all these 5 elements, the Pancha Mahabhutas. The Rajoguna becomes this prana, etc. So even in the subtle body, again we have mind and then prana, which is the one which is doing all the physiological processes, the life force, you can say. Of course, difficult to translate words like prana into English. In some of the older books, they translate it as vital air and all that. It looks a little funny. Anyway, so we are talking about this creation coming about from these 5 elements, and before the 5 elements came, anyway, the total the identification with the total knowledge has to be there. All first knowledge, then only any creation is possible. That's why we talk about Mahad, Ahankara, then the 5 Tanmatras make up 7. So they also can be considered here as the paridhi, the boundaries, the poles which make up the boundaries of the Yajnashala, or 7 Chandas also another. Sayanacharya is talking about it as 7 Chandas. Then there is also Tris Sapta Samidha Kritaha. Tris Saptaha means what? 21, 3 times 7. So the sticks, Samit, are the sticks we use for Yajna again. So how do we account for this 21 here? This also again, this all again imaginary or imagery only. What are the 21 Samit which is used? Normally in Yajna we use Samit from different trees, okay? Even in our Gurukulam we have planted all the sacred trees from which all the Samit we normally collect. The Ashwatha, Palasha, Audumbara is the banyan. Like that, there are many trees are there. They are all specially used for collecting all these sticks. The samidh which we use, dried sticks only, we put it in the homa, correct? Now here this 21. So how do we account for this 21? Means we have 5 indriyas, the sensory organs, jnanendriya, starting with eyes, ears, like that, correct? So the 5 jnanendriyas, the 5 sense organs, then 5 karmendriyas are there, organs of action like speech, hands, legs, etc. So 5 organs of sense, 5 organs of action, sense organs and organs of action 10. Then mind itself is looked upon as 4 different things. In 4 ways we look at mind, the antakarana, the internal organ. So manas is one aspect, the emotional aspect you can say. Sankalpa vikalpatmakaha manaha, where all the thoughts rise. Okay, but there is no nischaya in that. Then buddhi is there. Mano buddhi. Buddhi is the intellect, you can say. Nischayatmika buddhi. Buddhi is the rational mind. It discriminates, it determines this is this, like that. All the analysis and ascertainment and all is happening in buddhi. Then ahankara, I, the sense of I as the doer, I as the enjoyer, karta bhokta, that is the ahankara. I know, I don't know, all that I. Then chittam. So mano buddhi ahankara chittani, 4. Mind itself is looked upon as 4. Then pancha prana also is there. Prano pana vyana udana samanaha. So prana, apana, vyana, udana, samanaha. So these 5 physiological processes are going inside your body, correct? Breathing, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Then there is blood flow is there. Excretion and all is happening. So different types of physiological processes are looked upon as prana, pancha prana. So this itself becomes 19. Then 2 more things are also added here. Okay. So this way, in fact, we are operating within the boundaries of these things only, correct? What we consider as myself, as a being, living being. All these things are there in any living being. These 21 things, if you take, or even the 7 things initially we talked about, our bodies are also made up of these things only. Whether you take your own physical body is the tamas pradhanam of these 5 tanmatras, the five elements we talked about, right? Pancha Mahabhuta. The tamas aspect is the main in the physical body. The rajas and sattva aspect is less. So that way the physical body is formed. So in your physical body only, you have all the 5 elements, correct? Starting from space. Without space, you cannot even eat anything. Your stomach at least has to have some space. So Akasha is there. Vayu is there. Everybody's body, we all know that. Then Agni, temperature, fire, digestive fire also we say. Acid is there. And temperature also you have to maintain. Otherwise, you are gone. Either if the temperature becomes too much or less, also it is a problem. Then more than 70% of the body is water. Apa. Prithvi is all the other things, which are whatever makes up. Otherwise, see, if you don't have any water, you will be a powder. So the physical body itself is, we can say that it is all made up of this Panchabhuta. Similarly, in our Srishti model of creation, the 5 pranas are also coming from the 5 elements only, but their rajas aspect is the pradhana, there, main. The other 2 are also there, but they are less. And the mind and the indriyas are also coming from the sattva aspect of these 5 elements. So 5 elements only are becoming all this, whatever is there in our body, correct? And our boundary, paridhi, we are also operating with this as our avarana or our covering or our boundary or our vasa. This is where we live. It's like a clothing on top of us. I am the indweller and I am being covered on top with this body. But Bhagavan says, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinnati. Like even old worn out clothes are given up, then you wear another one. Like that, the jiva is wearing different bodies. Death does not mean the end, according to us. Because the Atma, see, Atma is first a different self. Even the individual self is different from the body. That Veda is revealing to us. Not only that, this individual self, which is free from the body, can also take up another body. So Deha Vyatirikta Atma also is revealed by the Veda. Dehantara Sambandhi Atma, this self which can take up another body. Because this entire Swarga, going to Swarga and enjoying and all that is predicated on the assumption that this individual self can take up another body. Otherwise, there is no meaning in the Veda talking about you going to Swarga. With this same body, nobody goes to Swarga, correct? So the Deha Vyatirikta Atma is there, and that Atma, the self, is operating within the constraints of this body as the boundary. So that is what is talked about here as the paridhi. And its constituents are talked about first as 7, then as 21. Samit. This way the devas did this yajna. So devaha yat yajnam tanvanaha. So they did this yajna, and this as again as a kratu. Why? Because abadhan purusham pashum. The Purusha himself, they tied as the sacrificial animal, the Pashu. Okay, whether really Pashu Bali and all was there, is it said in the Veda, is a big topic. We will talk about that also, but next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.